Hello, welcome to you in edition of our show, Money Means Business. As we always say, in business means money. Stability and business and a lot of other things mean a lot of money, and this is what we have seen and what was proved last year and this year under the effects and the repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic that is going all over the world and affecting economies, definitely. Well, apart from this, Egypt has been working so hard in its economy and the projects and all, and almost got out unscathed out of this, and still working on keeping the standards. A great event happened in 2013, and we are celebrating it, and that is the 30th of June Revolution, and this is what we're going to be talking about, what happened since then, what was the situation, and now where we are as opposed to where we were at that time, definitely. And we have with us our guest, Mr. Ahmed Al-Laisi Nassif, economic expert and, of course, development also. And we're going to talk a lot about the New Republic. Welcome with us.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure having you.
Pleasure.
Well, we'll go for a short break with a roundup of what happened during the week, after which we'll be coming back. Stay tuned to us, don't go away. We're back again to Money Means Business, and with our guest, international consultant, economics and management, Mr. Ahmed Al-Laisi Nassif. Hello, welcome again. Well, a lot has been happening, and of course, we every year we just, celebrate the 30th of June Revolution, and then there is, the 3rd of July, of course, which is a very important occasion for us. And every time, with every occasion, we are wowed with different projects and the completion of different projects and a lot of development that is taking place. But let's start. How things were at that time, and how we, like the place we were in that time, and the place we are now.
With your permission, I'd like to look at it sector by sector.
Definitely.
And
Please.
The best way to do this, or to answer your question, is without any emotional reflection. We just see what it was before and how it is now. If we start by one of the most essential things in our lives, electricity. Before, I remember very well, on daily basis, we had to take a decision to either pump electricity into Zamalek or to Maadi, into Doki or to Heliopolis, on daily basis, especially in summertime. This was the situation before. Situation today, we are exporting electricity to other countries. We didn't have to have just the key or the most famous neighborhoods in Cairo lit, to lighting the whole country and having access to export and make money out of it to other countries. That's one. If you look at another sector, because people forget easily, petrol and gas. People used to queue up for hours.
True.
The videos are all over, they're on YouTube, they're all over. Today, there is abundance. You can get your car filled whenever you want, any time of the day, only the time that it takes to fill your car, and you move on with your life. This is the before, and this is the after. If we look at the economic setup or the structure, and that's not a very easy subject to explain to the non-expert in that business or that science. But we need to look back at history to understand the achievement that we've done and how big it is. There must be a reason why the IMF, in every single report almost for the past few years, he keeps commending Egypt for the turnaround and what we have done. I mean, they don't do that often. It's not something that's very popular or very common that the IMF does for governments. People forget in 1977, to be exact, January 1977, there has been some major economic decisions taken. At the time, President Sadat was the president of Egypt. People reacted a little bit negatively to decisions which were very, very new for the Egyptian society for the first time that the IMF has, after the open door policy, and we started to liberate our economy.
Yeah.
And 3 years after 1974, when we announced the open door policy, then this happened. The IMF asked Egypt to float the currency. People went out, they expressed their anger. President Sadat rolled back his decisions of this, of the advice, of following the advice of the IMF. Then President Sadat was superseded by President Mubarak, who at the time he was actually the vice president, so he learned the lesson. Mm-hmm. And for almost 40 years, nobody has took the decision to float the Egyptian pound. Mm-hmm. Okay, we didn't float the Egyptian, big deal. Mm-hmm. No, it's a big deal actually.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Why? And this is a bit delicate and hard to explain, but let me try. We were selling, or the government were selling or providing US dollars at a subsidized price. We were subsidizing the currency, which means what? Which means that anything at all you bought with foreign currency ended up being subsidized. Mm-hmm. So if you're buying smoked salmon or quailed eggs or Swiss chocolates, the government, the Egyptian government, was subsidizing this. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. It was the fact almost for 40 years because nobody had the courage to take the decision that President Sisi took in 2016, November 2016, beginning first week of November 2016 to be specific. And he knew, the president knew very much that when he takes that decision, he might lose a little bit of his popularity. Mm. But as they say in management, the right decisions are not always the most popular. And this was a very good example for that. It was the right decision to fix the economy. We were subsidizing totally trivial things. The country's wealth were wasted for 40 years on non-essentials. And this is why we see a very poor situation with education and with health and general government services. Why? Because the government needs money to do the services. Where is the money? The money is being used to subsidize smoked salmon, quail eggs, and Swiss chocolate and French cheese. Totally ludicrous. Mm-hmm. This administration took the difficult decision. And the other thing to know also, like many things, when you do it a little by little, over 40 years, nobody's going to feel the difference, or the difference is going to be small. When you suppress it for 40 years, and then you come to do what is right, the difference is 40 years.
A lot.
So it's a lot. So it is shocking and it is different. Yet, the administration had the courage to do what is right. Before, again, we go to the same structure we talked about. Before, we were subsidizing totally trivial goods. Today, we started to spend money, or this money that used to be wasted on these trivial subsidies is being used to build schools is being used to improve the health care in the Egyptian population. I'll go back to health. So health you need to finance, but it's not just about that. I used to work some time ago outside of Egypt in countries that employs Egyptians or often employs Egyptian simple non-skilled labor, what we call them. One of the key issues almost 70% of non-skilled Egyptian labor had is that every time they arrive to the country, they would get tested for hepatitis C and they test positive, so they send them back. And it was a very, very frequent incident, and this epidemic has basically killed so many Egyptians.
Sure.
Fortunately, my own mom is one of them.
Yeah.
What did President Sisi do? He launched a campaign against hepatitis C. He imported the right medication, and he managed the situation and almost eradicated this epidemic that was killing Egypt, physically killing Egyptians physically, and at the same time was causing them a lot of harm, that they couldn't get the jobs that they wanted to get in other places, or even were accepted, not that they just wanted, they were accepted in jobs, but they are found very often medically unfit to take the job. Again, there is no emotion, the before and the after. A huge sick population to a much healthier population, within which he has lifted the slogan of 100 million good health, which is enormous. I mean, the tests even for the chronic diseases like blood pressure or hypertension or
diabetes,
all of this. Type. Women. What were women before, and where are women now? We have today the largest number of women ever in an Egyptian parliament in our history. We have today the largest number of ministers, women as ministers, ever in our history. And they are actually doing a great job. I mean, without mentioning anybody by name because I do not want to forget anybody, but they're really doing a great job. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that being a woman in such a high post puts pressure on the individual, that most women in these posts, I think they work easily twice as much as men.
Yeah.
Security. Where were we before? We were in a very bad state. We all, again, we do not want to remember the dark days, but we have to remember the dark days to appreciate what we have today. People were shooting with machine guns in Zamalek on some of the houses there.
Yeah. Anybody in the balcony, like we had.
He didn't even know who he was shooting.
Yes.
Okay. It could have been one of his family. He doesn't even know. But let me have fun and shoot a little bit here. Okay. Today, we have, knock on wood, we have a very, very strong security situation in the country. We're safe. We feel safe. And security is more of a feeling than an action. But we really feel safe today. Almost on every certain dimension we look at, transportation and business, I think this administration is doing something extremely unique, extremely smart, which almost our own, what we call the Marshall Plan, which is the plan that was used to revitalize the economies after the Second World War. But actually, this is a very, very useful major improvement of the infrastructure in Egypt.
Yeah.
It's a mega one. And we all see it. I mean, just the distance that we used to do in, like, I don't know, over an hour, today we do it in at least 50% of that time. This is time saved, this is petrol saved, this is an economy that's being pumped by so many job opportunities. And again, this is the before and after. So without being emotional, without, you know, carrying big slogans, the facts speak for themselves. So I think we have every reason to celebrate, and we just wish for more of the same.
Actually, you know, say without being emotional, actually, like, you cannot, well, not be emotional. It's, you know, like when we review in that day, you know, celebrating, and we get, you know, like on Facebook, gives you, you know, like memories and that time, and I look at that and I feel the same feelings I was feeling then when I was in Tahrir Square. Every day when I want, I'd like more to stay at home and relax, you know, after my job and all that. But then every day, even during Ramadan, after iftar, we were going out there, you know, because we wanted to get rid of the Muslim Brotherhood, definitely, and we wanted things to be right, as you said, you know, like with power outages all the time happening. That was in the summer; it was really horrible. And when, you know, like you talk about this, the Prime Minister says, well, you all stay in one room together, you know, for that. What is this?
And wear cotton, remember? And he said, wear cotton. I mean, I really do not want to go there, but if you went there, I remember, I'll give you 2-3 examples. Again, I do not want to personalize this, even especially for people who have passed away. But let me state it in the positive way, and I'm sure we all remember. When President Sisi says he's going to come on TV on a specific time, he comes on TV.
Definitely.
On that time.
Yeah.
We've never waited for President Sisi for 2-3 hours. We're never sure.
Yeah.
Another example, which at the end of the day we're all Egyptian, is almost a scandalous example, but we cannot forget it. When we were talking about the dam in Ethiopia, and we look and we see the effort that the current administration is doing all over the world,
yeah.
And it is really leaving no stone unturned, diplomatically speaking, just to make sure that, you know, we're really knocked on every door. We've talked to every stakeholder who has something to do from close or far. I mean, we're really making sure that we exhaust all possibilities before we move on.
Yeah.
When the administration of the Muslim Brotherhood held what they thought was a confidential meeting on the level of the president, it was on live TV. I mean, it's a scandal. It's a scandal, unfortunately, but we cannot forget these times. It's very useful for us to keep the memories, so we appreciate what we have.
Definitely.
And so many are the things, you know. It is true, and we are even being criticized today. But as I always say, you know, the easiest thing in the world is to criticize somebody. You sit on your backside and you criticize.
Exactly.
That's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Can you do the job?
Cast your ignorant comments or uninformed comments, and being really unfair. You know, look at things right. If, like, you know, if you want to criticize, then you should do it right.
Do you know how to do it right? They don't. They just know how to criticize.
Exactly.
It's very easy to criticize.
Yeah.
You just look at anything and say, I don't like it. Yeah, fine, okay. It exactly reminds me with the way, I don't want to say Egyptian, but, you know, many people watch football, yeah? That he shouldn't have played it this way. He should
exactly.
have.
Like, why don't you go in
why don't you go in the field and play this place? Can you do it?
And you hear it, it's like,
Can you do
I
it?
don't know how many millions are there that are experts, and why didn't you just go and you know, since you know that so good, be, you know, like, be with them there, one way, a referee or a player,
Or trail
whatever.
or whatever, you know. So
Exactly.
criticism is very easy. What is really hard is real hard work that delivers results.
Yeah.
And again, when you get and you read the reports, and I'm sure IMF reports are impartial about Egypt,
Yeah.
you see how much appreciation we have for the very, very brave changes that we took. And I mean, I have no doubt that we are on the right track. It's very important that when we are measured or evaluated, we are evaluated in our own context. If you look at the region all around us, all the way north, west, south, huge trouble. We are one of the very few countries who are still stable, and not just stable. We are advancing, we are evolving, we are developing. One of the very, very few countries. We should be very proud. We should support our administration and our leadership for putting us in that position in such a difficult time.
Difficult time also that, you know, like those people who are just casting their own doubts and their own uninformed comments and talk about this and that, when, you know, like the government and everybody is trying their own is best, and we are in a war situation. They don't recognize this, or they ignore it around us, you know, like to make the place secure. And, you know, we had, you know, the Daesh, not Daesh, and all these, you know, they're coming and trying to you know, infiltrate and create havoc. And during the Brotherhood, that was there. So maybe we could talk about this later after the break. So we go for a short break. After we should be coming back. Stay tuned to us, don't go away.
Sure.
We're back again to Money Means Business with our guest, Mr. Ahmed Al-Raisi, international consultant, development and management and economics. Well, you know, like we were talking about, well, those days, and you know, like that we were like hit rock bottom, and we were going worse with the Muslim Brotherhood, you know, government and fiascos that happened, and now, as opposed to now, and all the work that has been done till we reached, and we are in the new republic.
It's very important to understand the Muslim Brotherhood and their agenda, because some people, especially those who are not very well read or educated, just follow the Muslim Brotherhood out of faith. I mean, we are Oriental people by nature. Religion is a very important component of our culture. And they think that Muslim Brotherhoods are almost the representative of religion or the ruler by religion or something like that. So they follow them.
That's what they think.
Yeah, because they are not very well read. The Muslim Brotherhood, as most people know, or many people actually don't know, was started in 1928 by a school teacher who was educated in the US. Sorry, not him who was educated. His Sayyid Qutb is the bigger follower was educated in the US, not Hassan al-Banna. Anyways, to cut a long story short, Muslim Brotherhood are a political movement. They are not religious. It has nothing to do with religion.
Whatsoever,
What they do is they use religion as a means to support the way they look at things. But in reality, they are not about religion. They are a political sect that is using, with a military arm. It's very important to remember this. And that goes decades and decades, from the assassination of Nokrashi, okay, until so many different things. Unfortunately, they were, after President Nasser, they were in a very weak spot. Unfortunately, again, and it's very important to see the past and see where we are today. President Sadat, and this is not a secret, I mean, it's even on the film that documents his life, let them out of the jails and almost made a deal with them to divide things or certain hubs in the country with them. In the end, they ended by assassinating him. It is exactly like the analogy, you cannot get a cobra snake and you use him as a pet and you put him on your lap, even if it was sick or cold or whatever, because the minute it gets warm, it's gonna attack you. Okay, and unfortunately, this was exactly the thing that happened with President Sadat. He thought by taking them out of prison, by dropping all the penalties or the sentences that they had against them, they will owe him a favor. Little did he know that they only would owe anything to their own. They would only have favors with their own. And unfortunately, they reached a level that they penetrated almost every angle of the Egyptian society or Egyptian structure. Government, syndicates, almost everywhere. And it is unfortunately like a cancer which was widespread. And it's very important to know what is their theme. Their theme is they don't believe in countries. They don't believe
in frontiers,
in Egypt. They don't believe that there is something should be called Egypt. And even I do not want to repeat what one of their supreme leaders have said, but he literally insulted the country. And to him,
nothing but rotten,
a bunch of sand or a bunch of something like that. How do they look at their history? they look at the pharaonic history, one of the greatest civilization in the world, and again, I'm quoting them verbatim here, as a rotten civilization. Huh? This is the civilization that built the pyramids, that, you know, figured out the astrology, that created the mummification, so many things, you know. We created the pharma science. I mean, so many things started here. And what do they call it? A rotten civilization.
Yeah.
They have
run out of time, so we have to just...
Okay, they have an agenda.
Yeah.
They're not about religion. It's a political sect that is just wearing a mask to attract the numbers who are, you know, with modest education and not very well read. We are on the right track. Yeah. We are definitely, if we, as the Americans say, we need to ask ourselves the question, are we better today or 7 years ago? There is no doubt
and there's no comparison.
In anybody's mind, we are so much better. We look forward, okay, for another 7 years of the same success.
Exactly, exactly. And on, and always from one success to another, where you go, Egypt, as we say. Well, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure having you.
Pleasure
so we're looking forward to more. And we'll talk more in detail about what's happening and more projects that are being done. And of course, you know, that we were in one place and we just moved, thank God, to another place. We were saved. 30th of June saved us.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you again.
Absolutely.
As for now, I'd like to thank everybody and say God bless Egypt, God bless our president, God bless our people, God bless the army, the white army, and our police, and God bless the world. ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. As I quote from the Holy Quran, enter Egypt God willing safe, and from the Holy Bible, Mubarak, Shabi Misr, blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nermin Nazim, signing off. Goodbye for now. We'll see you again next week.